So now we will be getting into runtime environments. So basically, with JavaScript, I'll make a video on the levels of JavaScript code, or sorry, not JavaScript code, just levels of programming in general. JavaScript sits above the really like fundamental line, a really strict line. I don't remember what it's called, but basically above it you have interpretive languages, and below it you have compiled languages. So compiled languages compile into a raw binary that or a raw executable that you would run, and it would do whatever it needs to do. Whereas interpreters or interpretive languages need to come with a binary or an executable that will read your code and know what to do with it. Okay. Um, Interpretive code is generally significantly slower than raw binary, but for most purposes is completely fine. JavaScript is an interpretive language. So, let's read about this. So, runtime browser, and then you have Node. Okay, so in a browser, you have JavaScript, which if you inspect, go to the console, you can say console.log hello world, and it will log hello world to the console. This is all JavaScript, okay? This is a browser runtime. It includes the document object model. It includes some other global functions that you have access to. It includes all sorts of stuff. And then you have Node, which is a completely different runtime. And it's still JavaScript, but it has different functionality. It's designed to be run as a native application, or it is a native application, whereas JavaScript on the front end is built inside of Chrome and is built inside of a small sandbox. And so you have limited features with the browser. Okay. Yada, yada, yada. Node runtime environment. I already talked about this. You get an environment variable. I don't know why we're learning about all of this. Great. Yeah, so we'll be working with Node.js in the future, but that was really useful information. Actually, no, that is really useful information. For the next thing, we're going to be using Node just modules. And so basically, a module is a separate file that you import specific functions or whatever into your main application. So you can download separate things from, or separate packages from npmjs.org. Oops. For example, this is something that I've been using. But npm is basically a massive space. That's not what I wanted. Massive space with a bunch of different packages that you can import, you can download, import, and utilize. And it's all code that is, well, not all of it, but most of the code is completely free to use. Basically, all of it is. If it's not free and you're able to use it, then the designer did something wrong. But in general, if you can download it and use it, it's free to use. So, yeah, basically it's a file that you import in and it reads it, and you can use the functions outside of it, basically organizing your code into separate files. If you set it up properly, it's going to be the same thing. And the way we do it in Team Taters, we use ESBuild to build into the browser runtime, and everything is pretty much universal. There's not really a difference between front end and back end module exports and stuff like that. You don't really deal with that. Okay, this is all useful information. To recommend you read all of this. We're going to be using a different method to export and import than what they're doing here, but conceptually it's the same. They use require. We're using separate statements that look like, well, they're not there. Using the ES6 method, ES6 import and export thing. But it's all calling, when it compiles into JavaScript, it all runs the same way. So, great. We did that article. Fantastic. No, I don't care. So, let's keep going. This is all the same stuff. So we've got modules. I already learned about that. Isn't this all the same thing? Okay, no, not really. This is like all the same. Okay, is this going to be an article, or are we going to actually freaking use the code? I want to learn how to use the code instead of just read about it. Come on. Please don't be another article. If there's another article, I'm going to... Oh my god, that's it? That's really it? That's how we learn about... Really? Okay. I'm going to make a couple videos on how to do some importing and exporting, because that was not okay. All right. See you in the next video.